All right, let's get started then. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our breakout room. In this presentation, we'll be going through a few artifacts of our design process, as well as expanding upon technical detail that we glossed over in our much shorter presentation.
So to quickly refresh you guys on what we addressed in the snapshot presentation earlier, we focused most of our year on a specific issue that was common amongst many relief organizations, specifically with the interaction between a volunteer coordinator and their volunteers. While preparing for a disaster, volunteers tend to have a large variety of common and repetitive questions that they tend to ask their coordinator. A coordinator needs to address these concerns through a variety of different communication methods, while also attending to other tasks that they have, such as managing events and communicating with other coordinators. These are a list of specific individuals at a variety of relief organizations that we had talked to over the course of the year during our design process. These organizations range in size from large-scale organizations such as the American Red Cross to small community Facebook groups that work together during a disaster. They vary in their goals in a crisis, and all of the individuals we had talked to all play different parts within their organizations to complete their goals.
Based on what these users shared with us, we recognized the following problem space. Organizations need to disperse a lot of information to prepare their volunteers, particularly because the disaster itself will require a lot of reacting to changes in live time. And a lot of volunteers do tend to be older, and so those who are newer or older tend to have different communication needs and varying levels of technical confidence, and these needs need to be met. With dispersing lots of information, things can get lost or missed, which results in an influx of questions such as, what trainings do I need on a daily basis for our organizations? In nonprofit disaster relief organizations, coordinators are stretched thin and managing a lot of work. Clarity and efficiency in communication are critical for success in volunteer-powered organizations. Providing scaffolding and support for volunteers and coordinators alike will encourage stronger communication and save time.
Talking with these organizations was one of many different steps in our process to create a template over the course of this year. We needed to talk with these organizations to make sure our ideas were founded in user insights and pain points. We began with extensive research and user interviews with these organizations so we can then synthesize important insights and begin brainstorming ideas. We then worked more with organizations to get feedback and co-design so we could refine our ideas down to one central template that we could flesh out and develop.
From our conversations with organizations and the insights we gleaned from them, we created these three personas: the coordinator, volunteer, and developer. The bullet points below their names are their needs, frustrations, and goals. We found that coordinators, in addition to their interactions with volunteers, have a whole slew of other duties that they need to attend to. But the volunteer interaction part tends to interrupt or demand more attention than the other duties. The volunteer, on the other hand, back a slide. Okay, the volunteer, on the other hand, we found to be very dependent on the coordinator for finding new and remedial information. Sure, there are FAQs and other docs, but those are often not easily parsable or just plain hard to find. In order to be effective, volunteers need quick and easy access to information. As for the developer, many small organizations do not have their own dedicated programmer or IT specialist, and those that do have a very busy developer who needs clear documentation in order to quickly and easily deploy new resources for the organization to use.
Here is a user journey that we see all too often with our personas. Project Assist Coordinator Carl is trying to organize and publicize a CPR training, as there has been a recent influx of new volunteers. Meanwhile, the volunteer Vicky opens her email and realizes she was supposed to be logging her hours all along. She goes to their website, but she's pretty quickly confused over which tab will actually help her log her recent hours. So she decides to call in, resulting in Carl putting aside his work to explain the logging process step by step. With our solution, we hope to potentially eliminate the coordinator's role in answering really basic questions such as, where can I log my hours? So we hope that our volunteer Vicky would be able to just call our Twilio phone number, interact with the autopilot chatbot, and quickly get the answer to her question. However, if this is not possible, then we have a built-in redirection system. So that way, if the autopilot gives a confusing answer or an incorrect answer, Vicky can ask to be connected to a coordinator on the same call, and it will connect Carl in. So that way we can still ensure Vicky is getting the right answer.
Using Twilio's platform, we created a template that configures a phone number to be able to accept both SMS messages and voice calls using Twilio's channel APIs. This is made possible by Twilio Studio, which manages the communication flow behind the scenes and determines how to handle the incoming conversations. At the core of our template lies a pre-trained autopilot assistant. The autopilot platform integrates Twilio's natural language understanding engine and Actions API, which provides a way to create conversational AI-powered bots. We have trained an assistant to handle commonly asked questions from volunteers that we gathered from our user meetings. When the assistant is not able to answer a question from a volunteer, it passes the conversation off to Twilio Flex, which is a contact center where they are connected to an available coordinator while maintaining the previous conversation.
As for the our main component, that would be the autopilot chatbot, a bot that utilizes natural language processing to fluidly communicate with users over multiple communication channels. We pre-trained a Twilio autopilot bot on a very large selection of common questions asked by volunteers across many organizations to make the bot as applicable as possible to a large audience out of the box. These samples include topics ranging from training to event details to account creation and setup. We also designed the responses and questions to be obvious placeholders so the coordinator knows that they can easily add, remove, and modify tasks to their liking. The second major component utilizes Twilio Flex. This product is normally used as a call center, but we repurposed its features to be used as a centralized location for coordinators to communicate with their volunteers when needed. If a volunteer wants to speak with a coordinator, the autopilot bot is able to redirect the volunteer, and the coordinator is able to pick up the conversation on Flex. If the conversation comes through voice, the coordinator can answer on the cellular device. And if it comes through SMS, the coordinator can see the previous autopilot conversation on the Flex console and will be able to answer there. This is the journey we see our entire template taking. First, it would start with a developer-added organization using the quick deploy feature on Twilio's code exchange to easily and efficiently deploy the template so the organization can use it at a moment's notice. A volunteer coordinator will be able to modify the autopilot bot as needed, and volunteers will be able to ask questions to the bot through either voice or SMS. If the autopilot bot isn't able to answer questions when asked, volunteers will be able to redirect to a coordinator who will be able to remedy any concerns in an efficient and fluid fashion.
A critical aspect of our template is that it is accessible to potential users. During one of our meetings with folks from the American Red Cross, we received validation that our template has clear value due to its flexibility and ease of launching. Our template is open source, and we are in the process of getting it added to Code Exchange, which is Twilio's code sample repository. We also wrote a blog post that is about to be published on Twilio's developer blog, which will increase the reach of our template. This template is compatible with Twilio's new feature, Quick Deploy, which allows users to spin up their own instance of our app with no code and in a matter of seconds.
We want to thank you all for coming and coming here and learning more about our project. And we also want to thank our Twilio sponsor, Jeff Iden, and our advisor, Jason Woodard, for all of the help over the year. If there's any questions you have, we would love to answer them.